All right. So Brandon Simmons here, and I am here with Terry Hynicker, and he is from Pennsylvania, just outside hold on, I'm going to mess it up.
Lancaster.
Lancaster. Okay. Pennsylvania. So Terry is one of our first check challenge students. He's went through our group coaching program to get his first check. And I just asked Terry to come on here and tell us a little bit about his experience with coaching and how he ended up getting his first check and his kind of a little bit of his background and story, because a lot of people out there, Terry, are struggling to get their first check. They're wanting to know what to do, and they want to even know that it's possible. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in wholesaling?
How I got started in wholesaling is I got looking around the net, surfing the net, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do something in real estate, and somehow I got on John Terry's website, and I got a phone call about the first check challenge. I was in the alpha group, so I was one of the first. And I was a little skeptical. The alpha group, yeah. And I was a little skeptical, very skeptical, I should say. And ended up going ahead with proceeding with it. My wife didn't know that I was doing it at that time.
She knows now, right?
Yeah, she knows now. Yep, she knows now. So, but so anyway, the way I actually did was when I started to coaching calls were every Tuesday night. I think it was Tuesday and Thursday or something like that. And just so happened that my son had basketball practice that same night, the same nights as the coaching calls. So I'd be in the basketball courts watching him practice, and I had my earbuds in, listening to the coaching calls. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe those videos are still up. If you watch some of them videos, you'll hear, I think it was Brandon saying, "Hey, there's background noise. Somebody's got to mute their phone," because I didn't have my phone always muted. And it's like, whoops.
Cheer in with popcorn and hot dogs and the whole bit. Huh?
So I was watching him doing basketball, and then I was doing as I was told to do throughout the class. I was doing whatever it was I was told to do, and lo and behold, I ended up getting my first check the first week that we were out of class. I think it was when I got my first deal.
Right. So right after the coaching ended, you got the first check. How much was that check for? That
check was for $8,000.
Nice.
Yeah. And
now, how did you find the deal?
So that deal was I think I used DataZap and got a list of names. And when I did RVMs on.
Yeah, doing the ringless voicemail, yeah.
Right. So I also used CallRail. So I was going through my CallRail. This guy called me back and stuff. And I actually went over and looked at the property, and I got it under contract on February 1st. Went under contract. Starting to sweat it. It became February 7th, and I didn't have a buyer yet. And it's like, got antsy and all worried. It's like, oh man, what am I going to do here? So I put it on Craigslist. And like I said, my wife didn't really know that I was doing the coaching program. Know what I was doing. I put it on Craigslist. Somehow she found the listing when I went to work. I went to work, and then I got all these nasty texts from work, or while I was at work and she was there. So it's like, don't worry about it. It'll be sold. You know, we'll make some money. There was a company here in the local area, and I ended up calling them and said, "Hey, you interested in a house in this location?" And they said, "Yep." I said, "Okay." I said, you know, they wanted to know when they could look at it. And it's like, well, I didn't want to tell them that I was working. I was, putting in front that I was a wholesaler, but I didn't want to tell them I was working. But they wanted to look at it the next day. And it's like, I can't show it to you that day. And the guy says to me, he says, what if we went up and talked to the seller? I said, I was kind of hesitant about that. And he says, and without me even prompting him, he said, we'll tell him that we're your investors. I said, well, you're going to tell him that you're my investors? And I had already prompted the seller that I would have investors coming through and stuff, and different people coming through. And he was cool with that. And I said, okay. I said, I have I had 2 or 3 people lined up to come that Monday. This was Friday, and they wanted to come before that. So they came. They went up there and talked to him. That was on Saturday that they went up to talk to the seller. They were supposed to be there at 10 o'clock. I'm sitting at work. It's 10 o'clock. And it came time for me to leave at 6 o'clock in the evening. And I still didn't hear from them. And it's like, oh, I guess they don't want that property. So I calling them up. So I ended up calling them up. I bought it. I had it under contract for 59, and I had it out on the web for, started at 74.9, and then I brought it down to 69.9. And you and I even talked, Brandon, about the price point. And you're the one that said get it under 70, so put it down to 69.9, I guess it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up calling the guy up. I said, hey, did you guys get up there and look at that property? He said, yeah. And he said, I said, well, what'd you think? He says, yeah. He says, we're interested. And he threw out a price right away of 65. And I thought, oh, man. And I've just learned not to always take the first offer I get. So I said, oh, man, I can't do 65. So he said he'd have to call back. So he had 2 partners. He called them, and he ended up purchasing it for I want to say, was it 67? Yeah, it would have been 67 even. He purchased it.
Nice.
It was a drive home. Usually takes me 15 minutes. It was a long 15 minutes, but I was like less than 5 minutes away. He called me back. He said, hey, if I tell you I can do 67, will you take it off the market right now and, sell it to me and everything else? I said, if you can't tell me you can do 67, I'll take it off the market now. I won't show it to the guys Monday. Otherwise, I'm showing it to the guys Monday. And lo and behold, he said he'd do that. He emailed me the paperwork. I filled it out, sent it back to him Sunday morning. And February 28th of 2019, I had
nice
$8,000. So
now, what did the wife think after that?
she didn't have a whole lot to say. I think she thought I just got lucky. But then I got my second deal.
Uh-huh.
And that was, I would drop the kids off here in town, and then I'd drive around town looking at houses, doing some driving for dollars. And I found this one property, grass was grown up, and, you could tell it was deferred maintenance and stuff, and it's like, that first one. So I looked it up in the courthouse records. Turned out the lady only lived a few blocks away. So it's like, okay. So I sent her a postcard, sent her letters, no reply. And I was on one of Sean Terry's coaching calls. And somebody asked, what do you do with a seller that ghosts you? And Sean said, I don't think he recommends this anymore, but Sean at that time said, send him an agreement. It's like, wow, send him an agreement. And then, just put in there that's contingent upon you inspecting the property. So I sent him an agreement. Turned out, yep, it was, I didn't hear back from her. It's like, nobody's getting back to me. On April 14th, because I remember it was the day before tax day, I get this agreement back in the mail, and she has it signed with a phone number. So it's like, well, how am I going to get in the house? So it took me 3 more days to get a hold of her. And she said,
wow.
Yeah, exactly. So she said, you can come look at the property anytime you want. Okay, how do I get in? Well, stop by and pick up a key. Okay. So again, it took me another day or two till I finally called up to her, because I'd stopped by her house. She wouldn't be there. And then finally she was there. She said, there's your key. And she said, I'm not looking to get anywhere near what you have on the contract.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
Nice.
Okay, so that one I made over $17,000.
Wow, 17 on that one.
Yeah. So
Jeez. Now the wife is probably happy with that one, right?
she was happy with that one. Yeah. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. What advice would you give to people thinking about using a coach or thinking about getting into a program like this? But also, like, what advice in general would you give to them? Like, people that are trying to do it, maybe they haven't had success and they're getting ready to quit.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that you said about in our coaching class that got me my first deal was we had to take massive action.
Mm-hmm.
And as odd as that may sound, but if you listen to not just what you said, but if you listen to Anthony Robbins, some of them other guys, you got to take massive action. So I got that first call, sent out, I think it was 100 RBM, or I'm sorry, it wasn't 100, it was 1,000 RBMs that I sent out. And that one guy called me back, and somehow I missed his call the first time, and he called me back the second time, said, hey, you know, this is the last time I'm calling you back. So I immediately called him back and said,
wow,
what's going on? You know, tell me about it. So, but you got to take action.
mm-hmm.
If you're not going to take action, the deals aren't going to come to you. And maybe once you're seasoned a little bit, 5-6 years or whatever, then maybe the things will come to you, but things aren't going to come to you. Initially, you got to get out there, take action.
Yeah.
And just like you said, you know, you got to talk to sellers. I will tell you what I'm very bad at is keeping my numbers. You always preached about the what is it?
The KPIs.
KPIs.
Key performance indicators, focusing on
right.
those revenue generating activities.
Yeah. I am horrible at that, and I gotta admit that if I have a downfall, that's it. I don't keep my numbers.
Well, that's okay. But at least you're getting progress, you know, and you get momentum.
Right. Yeah.
What I mean, these people that are thinking about coaching and stuff like that, how has the program helped you?
I feel it steered me in the right direction to get my first deal because I was out there wandering around. You know, I listened to YouTube things and stuff like this, but with the coaching program, it held me accountable. You know, you were asking every week, you know, what did you do this week? Did you do this? Did you do that? You know, but that's where it was. It was holding me accountable to do that kind of stuff.
Sometimes we need that, right? It's just help.
Right.
It's the psychology knowing that on that day you're going to have to give an accounting of what you did the week.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And if you know it's 9:00 at night and Brandon Simmons is calling tomorrow at 8 o'clock, you might want to make a few phone calls and say, hey, sell your house.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, I had some conversations at least, right? So,
yeah, right. Exactly.
That's awesome. So now, you know, you signed up for the coaching without the wife knowing. You got the first check. You got the second check. Did you do anything cool to celebrate?
We did. I took my wife out I took my whole family out to a high-class restaurant here. I also gave her mother, my mother, and my wife has 3 sisters. We gave each one of them $500.
Wow.
Out of our proceeds. So
I bet that was a nice surprise for each of them.
my mother-in-law said, "Get out of here with those," because they were the new $100 bills. He said, "Get out of here with them. They're not real." Ready to throw them in the trash.
Oh no. Yeah.
My kids are like, "Don't throw them in the trash, man. Don't."
Well, that's awesome. And now tell me some of your goals moving forward. Like what are your goals for this year and long-term goals that you have?
Well, I got a plan here. I'm going to be transferring to a different job.
Okay.
So in that transfer, I'm hoping to take some of my IRA money and hoping to use some of that, not just to pay off the majority of our bills. Like I said a little bit earlier, planning to pay off all our bills with the exception of one, and that bill is only $500 a month. So that'll include our mortgage will be paid off and everything.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I want to take that and do that, and then I want to buy some buy and hold properties because I need to fund my retirement. Last year I had a goal. I wanted to buy my wife a new car. That didn't happen, but I want to make it happen this year.
That's cool.
My wife has come to the conclusion that she wants to go to Disney we've been to Florida, but we've never been to Disney. The kids never wanted to go to Disney. They've always wanted to do something else. And one of the big things, believe it or not, that they love to do is go to the Gulf Coast.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever been there or not, but 3 years ago we went to Sanibel. Last year we went to Siesta Keys. And when we're in the Gulf, we have fish that actually come right up, swimming right past us while we're
Oh
in.
my gosh.
And we found a lot of actual wildlife on the beach down there in the Gulf Coast when we were down. So that was really, the kids were really impressed with that. And that's really.
Now, we were talking a little bit earlier before I recorded here. I'm going to have you speak this into existence. You also want to get what on the beach?
I want to get a house on the beach. And
Oh yeah, I put you on the spot.
Yeah. Yep. And one of my plan, my thinking process here, if I buy a property on the beach,
Mm-hmm.
when I go to the beach, I'm not going to have to pay for a room or
That's right. Yeah.
somebody else's house. I have my own house that I can pay for. But we're not going to be there every week, so I can rent it out and they
Nice.
can pay for it. And then once it gets paid off, that would be my retirement. And I'm hoping not to just have one, but I want to have, there's a development down there that we like to frequent, and I want to canvass the development, asking if there's anybody there that's willing to sell, because probably 99% of the properties in that development are absentee owners.
Wow.
So
Imagine this, like it's like 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. You're going to turn into like a property mogul.
yeah. Yeah, so I want to, but and like I told Brandon, maybe what will happen is I'll get 5-10 houses there in that development, and they'll be paying for not just those 5 to 10 houses, but a nicer beach house for me. So,
Yeah, and now you're going to have to invest in some sunscreen, though, right?
oh yeah, right. Yeah, gotta do that. So,
And a nice grill so you can
yeah.
pull out in the summer. That's going to be awesome, man. Well, please, let me come by for a visit after you get it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Down there and get you. Although it'll be on the East Coast, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I'll have to make a trip out there. Now, any last parting words of advice for any new people looking to get into wholesaling?
Just like I said, if you're going to take his coaching program, take the coaching program, but listen to what he says and take action. I mean, last time you and I spoke, Brandon, we spoke about what is it, Jim Rohn?
Jim Rohn, yeah.
Jim Rohn.
Tony Robbins' mentor. Yeah.
Right, correct. I've been listening to his tapes, been listening to Tony, been listening to Les Brown, and I will tell you, a lot of the times they speak about farming. But if you don't plant the seeds, you're not going to, in the spring, you're not going to reap the harvest in the fall.
Right, yeah.
Not out there. So if you're not out there, and what that translates to is if you're not out there sending the letters, making the contacts, looking up the foreclosed properties, looking at any property that's got deferred maintenance on, and speaking to the seller. You have to speak to the seller. That's the main person that you have to speak to. If you're not out there doing that, you're not going to reap anything. And yes, it's going to take time because you have to nurture those contacts once you get them. But once you get them and you nurture them, then in the fall or at closing, in this case, you're going to get benefits. So
love it. Got to plant the seed, take massive action.
Yep. And who is it? Steve Harvey.
Yo, I love Steve Harvey.
Yeah, Steve Harvey. What's he say? If you're a seed, what do you need?
If you're a seed, what do you need?
What do you need? You need some dirt thrown on you, or you're not going to grow.
Yeah.
Take a seed and throw it on concrete. The sun's going to beat on it and beat on it and beat on it. But you got to put it out there and you got to throw dirt on it. And his version of dirt being thrown on you is other people saying you can't do it. Other people giving you advice. So he says, you're going to get dirt thrown on you, and that dirt will make you grow.
Sometimes even a little manure.
Yes, yeah.
It's not bad, but it helps you.
Yeah. So, but
You got to get through all that, right? That's what.
you gotta continue to push through. Got to continue to push through. And just like just like I said with my first property, I was thinking, man, I'm not going to sell this. I'm not going to sell this. But I kept pushing through. And finally, I broke through the soil, to say,
Yeah.
dirt, and blossomed, and had a check for $8,000. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, Terry, thanks so much for doing this and for sharing your experiences with wholesaling with the coaching program and for your advice for all the new wholesalers trying to jump in there. I really appreciate it. I'm sure they appreciate it too.
Anytime, Brandon.
Thanks so much.